Hi everyone, yasas que kalos irtate to another episode of Dimitra's Dishes. Today we're going to be making a gluten-free Karidopita, a Greek walnut cake. It's going to be juicy and sweet and moist and so delicious. And we're using a gluten-free flour that I got at my local Costco, but I'm pretty sure you could find it in your local supermarket as well. If you can't find this one, I really cannot guarantee that any other brand will produce the same exact results, but it'll probably be similar. I'm using the King Arthur flour. That's not sponsored, but it is perfectly delicious. It actually comes out even more tender than a regular flour. Let's get started. So we're going to begin by making the syrup. So you don't need that much syrup for this cake. First of all, we're making a smaller batch. Second, it's really tender, like I said, so if you put too much syrup, it'll get mushy on you. So we're going to start off with 1 cup of granulated sugar, a cinnamon stick, and a few cloves, maybe 5 or 6 of them. Then go ahead and add a cup of water and bring the mixture to a boil. Once the sugar has completely dissolved, go ahead and add a teaspoon of pure vanilla extract and half a cup of Greek honey if you can find it. We do sell it in our shop, or you can use your favorite honey. Give that a mix, take it off of the heat, and set it aside to cool completely. Now it's time to make the cake. So I'm using my tabletop mixer because it makes life much easier, but you can use a hand mixer or do this by whisk. So I have 3 whole eggs that are at room temperature. I'm gonna add in here in this little bowl, I have a cup of granulated sugar, a teaspoon of cinnamon, a 1/4 teaspoon of ground cloves, and a 1/4 teaspoon of salt. And I'm going to add that to the mixer, and I'm going to whisk the eggs on high speed until they're nice and fluffy. Next, I'm going to add half a cup of olive oil and half a cup of whole milk that's at room temperature. And in this bowl right here, I have 1 cup of the gluten-free flour, 1½ teaspoons of baking powder, and a half a teaspoon of baking soda. I just whisked it all together, and I'm going to add it to my wet ingredients. And over here, I have 1 cup of ground up walnuts that I've just mixed in about 2 teaspoons of the gluten-free flour. I'm going to add those to the mix. Whisk them together. Once they're all combined, the batter is going to be ready. And that's it. You never want to overmix. I have an 8 by 8 inch square baking pan here. I'm just going to grease it with a little bit of avocado oil. You could use olive oil instead. Just give the batter a final mix and pour it into your prepared pan. And this is going to bake in a preheated oven. I've already preheated my oven to 350 degrees Fahrenheit. This is going to take about 30 or 35 minutes. Once a toothpick that's inserted into the center comes out clean, it's ready. As soon as it comes out of the oven, you're just going to want to poke it all around with a toothpick and then pour that syrup over top. Let the syrup absorb, and it's going to be ready to serve. My Karidopita is ready. It baked for 35 minutes. The other day I baked it, it was ready in 30 minutes, so definitely keep an eye on it because oven temperatures do vary. But as soon as the toothpick comes out and it's clean, then it's ready for the syrup. Now then, it takes about an hour, hour and a half for the syrup to be fully absorbed, but after that, I like to top it with some more walnuts. I just combined a few walnuts with a little bit of cinnamon, toss them all together. You could also add a little pinch of cloves in there and sprinkle them on top of the cake, and then dust the cake with a little bit of powdered sugar, and it is ready to be served. You see how moist it is and how soft? It just melts. The gluten-free cake flour is a little bit, how do I say it, a little bit softer than traditional all-purpose cooked baking flour. So you want to be very careful with that syrup. This is not as syrupy as a traditional Karidopita. I've tested it with the regular amount, which is double the amount of syrup, and it comes out so mushy. It almost tastes like a pudding, and it's not that good. It tastes like a mushy cake. So this is just the right amount of syrup. If you want to, you can add a little bit more sugar to the cake and leave the syrup out altogether. Maybe brush some on top, but I think this is the perfect amount. I love the little crunch of the walnuts and that hint of cinnamon and clove in the background. So delicious. I think you guys are going to absolutely love this one. The exact measurements are on the website, dimitrasdishes.com. Thank you guys so much for spending time with me today. I'll see you all next time. Yes, yes.